The Quran proves in its own evil pages it is the devil, and was sent to send people to hell with the devil and burn for all eternity. Surah 547 of the Quran says, "So let the people of the gospel judge by what Allah has revealed in it, and those who do not judge by what Allah has revealed are truly the rebellious. So if I judge by what my Bible, which this verse in the Quran is telling Christians to do, in this verse, judging by the Bible, it says in Galatians 1:8, but even if we or an angel from heaven should preach to you a gospel contrary to the one we preach to you, let him be accursed." So how does this in and of itself disprove Islam? Because the Quran states that the Quran was given to Muhammad by an angel. Surah 297 saying, "O Prophet, whoever is an enemy of Gabriel should know that he revealed this Quran to your heart by Allah's will, confirming what came before it, a guide and good news for the believers." I will say this does confirm the Bible, because even then some might say, "Oh, this does not contradict the Bible." Well, in fact it does, because the Bible verse states that if we or an angel from heaven should preach to you a gospel contrary to this one we preach to, let him be accursed. So it is saying anyone or anything who preaches a gospel which contradicts the Bible is a false teacher and cannot be trusted. So it's very clear that Islam teaches a very different ideal system. For example, the Quran states it was made for all people for all time, and Muhammad is supposed to be what people are to be. Then why did Allah allow Muhammad to rape and marry a 9-year-old in the Quran? The Bible spoke against rape. Look at the story of the rape of Tamar. But the Quran contradicts the Bible's teaching because of the fact Allah allowed Muhammad to rape and marry a 5-year-old. The Prophet married Aisha when she was 6 years old and consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. The revealed Al-Bukhari 5134, Book 67, Hadith 70. According to the Quran, marrying children is okay and expected because the Prophet did it. Muhammad marrying a child clearly shows a massive difference between Jesus and Muhammad. Muhammad was and still is a terrible person and could not even read or write, which was stated in the Quran when an angel was pressing him against the wall because he couldn't read what was given to him. But Jesus is perfect and is God in human form. Jesus never sinned because how can God sin? He can't. Muhammad is in hell under Jesus' feet, burning for the rest of the time in constant pain, like every other Muslim and or person who do not believe that Jesus is God, because if you died without Jesus, you go to hell. John 8:24, I told you that you would die in your sins if you do not believe that I am. You will indeed die in your sins. Now the Muslims will say the Bible was changed within that time frame. The time frame being right after the time they were written to the time that the fucking Quran was given to Muhammad. Now, this is clearly false. No angel gave Muhammad the Bible. Not the Bible, the Quran. The Quran was given to Muhammad by Lucifer because the angel pressed Muhammad onto a wall and because Muhammad couldn't read. And that doesn't really sound like an angel of God. That clearly just sounds like a fallen angel, a demon. And the Bible has never changed. The Red Sea Scrolls, which were found in the 1960s and which date to the time of Jesus Christ, have identical writings, pretty much one-to-one of what we have of the Bible now. So that pretty much proves that the Bible is not corrupt, but the Quran is. And in fact, Allah is stating, because it is stated in the Quran, that Allah is the great deceiver, and that Allah would wipe out humanity if it was sinless. Quranic verse 354, and the disbelievers made a plan against Jesus, but Allah also planned, and Allah is the best planners, and they, the unbelievers, plotted against Jesus, but God causes schemes to fail, for God is the best of plotters. What is a plotter? Someone who plots to commit a crime. Clearly not a positive thing, and that's clearly not what your God is wanted to be. Why would you want God to be a plotter, a deceiver? The second Quranic verse, obviously, verse Sahita 2749, Book 50, Hadith 30. By him in whose land is my life, if you were not to commit sin, Allah would sweep you out of existence, and He would replace you by those people who would commit sin and seek forgiveness from Allah, and He would have pardoned them. Right there in the Quran it says, if you do not sin, Allah would wipe you out and replace you. Why? Because Allah is the devil who wants you to sin to make you fall more and more from grace, and the only true God, Jesus Christ, is the real God. The proof is right there in front of your eyes. Pick up your cross and follow the Lord. How can Allah be the same God of the Bible when the true God, Jesus, states in the Bible in 1 Timothy 6:11-12, "But you, man of God, flee from these things and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, and endurance, and gentleness. Fight the good fight of the faith." In this verse in the Bible, it tells people to pursue righteousness, which is the total opposite of the Quranic verse I just showed you, because it's clearly stating that if you do not sin in that verse, Allah would wipe you out. So and somehow you may still think, if you're a Muslim, that it is the same God. But I could prove it's not with a simple verse. Deuteronomy 31:8. "The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged." Right there it proves, because in the Quran it's clearly shown over and over that Allah wants you to sin like the devil, and that Yahweh is the true God. Even if you're perfect, God won't leave you. But if you're perfect according to the Quran, Allah will destroy you and replace you. Allah is not Yahweh. Another Quranic verse which backs up my claim is this one. "What is the matter with you, that you have divided into parties by hypocrites? Allah has cast them out to disbelief because they have earned. Do you want to guide them whom Allah has made go astray? And he whom Allah has made go astray, you will never find him any way of guidance." Surah 488. This Quranic verse stating Allah itself made people go astray sounds on a lot like the devil. Why would Allah want to make his people abandon him? If he is truly God, he would not want to bring all people to him? Again, Deuteronomy 31:8 clearly states that the Lord won't abandon you. But even if you abandon him, he will not abandon you. Allah will abandon you just because he feels like it. And that in and of itself proves that Allah is a piece of shit and he will burn in hell because he is the devil. And that Jesus Christ is the truth and Muhammad is under his feet for eternity.